YouTube. There we go. Okay, I'm set up on YouTube also. So I'm just waiting for what a nice name, Mavis Diaz. Mavis Diaz. Sounds Spanish or something, isn't it? Sharon Farmer, I won't ask the obvious question. Okay, so if you have any parenting questions, you can start asking now. And I've just got a few people on here, which is a good time to start asking questions. So, okay, just a sec. Okay, so my name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go to the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look at coaching. You have to send me an email to ask about that because I'm super busy. I've spent all day answering emails. All day. So I am emailed out. So I'm really excited just to sit here and relax now and answer your questions. This is the easy part of my day. It's answering parenting questions. Someone asked me a while back, don't you ever get stumped? And I thought, no, not really. It doesn't mean I have the perfect answer, but no, I'm doing this for too long now. Oh, I got something funny to tell you. I'm going to wait till more people turn up. Something that happened in coaching today. It was very cute. Okay, so do you have any parenting questions? If so, ask away. That's what I'm here for. This is my regularly scheduled live. Okay, my toddler, 2 years old, always wants mom when it comes to bedtime, has a meltdown and refuses dad to put her down. What can we do? She stops meltdowns. Okay, the problem is that you're worried about the meltdown. If you're afraid of a meltdown, they're in charge. So just say, you can have a meltdown all you want, but dad's putting you to bed. You know what I'm saying? Or mom's putting you to bed. Just take charge. Allow the meltdown to happen. That's them processing. They can't have their own way all the time. That's okay. Parents are always trying to avoid a meltdown. Why? That is their lesson. That is all the lessons come after the meltdown. If you're trying to avoid that, then they're never going to learn anything. Okay. Oh, thanks so much for your support, Jeanette. I appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to tell you a very funny thing that happened today. I might repeat it again because it's so funny and people come and go. I was coaching today and this girl, she's 8 years old and lovely parents. They're doing great. But she decided that she didn't want this behavior board. You know what she said to her parents? I've never heard this before. She's 8 years old. She said, you guys are great parents. You don't need that lady. And then she tore down the behavior board. Isn't that great? So she used flattery to get rid of the behavior board. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Yeah, your guys are great parents. You don't need that lady. Isn't that cute? I thought that was hilarious. So I got permission to share that. I've never heard that. Never heard that. She's buttering her parents up. You're so wonderful. We don't need this. Oh, that was clever. And I said, if she'd said that to me, if I was there, I would have gone, oh, well done. Like that. I respect that. Okay. But anyway, the behavior board went back up and they're still working with me. So it didn't work. Can you tell me a bit more in detail about Mom's Bank? Mom's Bank is something it's called, that's what I called it, but you can call it Dad's Bank or whatever. Anyway, what I did with my kids, they were 3 years old and I started them on an allowance, okay? So what I did, I had 2 kids and I just had this like treble cash journal, it's called. So it had columns, 5 columns. It had the date, the description, debit, credit, balance. You can just use anything you want and just draw lines. Date, description, debit, credit, balance. Okay, so what I did was every Saturday morning I said, come on kids, I'm doing Mom's banking now. So they'd come running because they wanted money, but they never got handed cash. It was only written down. Anytime they got cash as a gift, they had to hand it over to me because I still control what they buy. I still control what they eat, what they play with. I'm mom, they're little, right? So anyway, I would write down the allowance every single week. It has completely separate from chores. Chores, I would not pay for chores unless they do something like detail your car or something like that. But you live here, you contribute to the household. I would never pay for chores. But all children learn or deserve to learn how to manage, save, and spend money, to understand money, okay? So anyway, and there's a whole bunch of things I did with my kids to teach them about this. But basically, every Saturday morning, I'd say, come on, kids, I'm going to do the allowance. Only I wrote in the book. And I go, here's the date, the description, it's your allowance. And then I go, okay, so you get, it's usually, I think it was half their age, or maybe it was their age. I can't remember. It's a long time. It's like 30 years ago. So anyway, I'd write down what they were getting, and then I'd do the balance. Now, I paid 10% interest on every $100. So it was real incentive to save. So when they got to $100, they got $10. When they got to $700, they got $70. I only paid interest on that amount once. So if they spent some money, they couldn't get another $70. Can you imagine some kids, oh, I'll spend $1 and then I'll go back up to 700. That's another 70. You know what I mean? So anyway, they only got paid on that one amount once for interest. When they reached $1,000, I gave them $100 interest, so they had $1,100. Then I went back to $10 on each 100. So when they reached $1,000, I gave them $110 because they had 1,100 now. Anyway, yeah, it's in a video somewhere. It's called Mom's Bank or Allowance. Allowance versus chores was a really big popular video on TikTok. I don't know why. I didn't think it was that interesting, but that one did really well. I probably did that about a year ago. It'll turn up. Bratbusters Allowance. Just look it up. Anyway, I won't go into it, but this I cashed them out at 15 years old, and yeah, worked beautifully. It taught them all about money. I don't mind spending money, but I hate wasting it. So I hate to see kids being handed money and they go out and buy a bunch of candy. Drives me nuts. I can't stand it. Okay. Okay. And they paid for their own clothes and things, etc. No, they didn't. No, I paid for all that. But I always said, we lived in Australia. They had Kmart over there. They had Kmart and Target in Australia. And I preferred Kmart. So I always said, I buy Kmart if you want the name brands, like, you know, what do they call that, designer stuff, then you pay the extra. So as they got older, you know, they never once did, not once, not ever. They like seeing that money in the bank. They like getting the interest. They got paid to save money. Then I cashed them out at 15. They had to go out and get a job outside of the house because they were old enough then. And then I cashed them out and they got their own debit card and they were in charge of their own money. Yeah, I paid for all the necessities. Yeah. It's an interesting question though, like, and they paid for their own clothes and things, etc. Correct? No. It's a good question though. I still think you got to meet their needs and manage their wants. I think all of this stuff, you see, my kids didn't buy the wants because they weren't, I don't know, they just weren't really demanding with stuff. Like, I met their needs and managed their wants, and they got their wants at Christmas and birthdays. They didn't seem to want a lot throughout the year, you know? So yeah. You meet their needs, and that's all the basic stuff. And even when they were teenagers, I still bought all the basics. They never bought anything because they were quite happy to save their money and have mom pay for all their clothes. But then they didn't get the designer stuff. It wasn't important to them. It's not important to me. You know, when they were kids, someone gave me Osh Gosh Begosh overalls for one of my kids when they were toddlers. I hate labels so much because I'm not materialistic and I don't like showy stuff. I ripped out the label, Osh Gosh Begosh. I didn't want anyone to know that my kids are walking around in design, like, you know, fancier stuff. They could have. I could have bought it all, but I just wasn't into that. I wanted to teach my kids don't rely on that label stuff for who you are, right? So yeah, I'm so not into that stuff. But teach his own. Some people are. I'm not judging. It's just not me at all. The thing is, that's sort of like, I work on the bull, not the lipstick. Like, I'm not into makeup and all that stuff, but I work on my health and my fitness. And it's the same with who I am. I'm not going to rely on the car I drive, the designer gear I have, the purse I carry. I'm working on who I am. You know, it's all that superficial materialistic stuff I've never been into. And I was very careful with my kids. I didn't want them to have that same, I didn't want them to think that way either. So that's why I was very picky about that. But to each his own. You know, if it's important to you, then that's fine. Although I did work with, have worked with several clients actually with a lot of money, and their kids have tantrums over not getting the right colored Tesla or the right colored, what was one of them, a G-Wagon or something? It was the wrong color, and their teenager had a tantrum. So I'm allowed to tell that story evidently. No names. See, I didn't want anything like that. Okay. My 14-year-old likes pedicures and massages, so I think that should be her money. Well, yeah, that's not a need. That's a want. They pay for the wants. You pay for the needs. Do they need pedicures and massages? No, they can pay for that. See the difference? I pay for their needs, not their wants. How can I change a 7-year-old's behavior when they're only here for one night a week? Well, we don't fix kids. We teach parents here. When you're a leader, their behavior follows. So you lead, they will follow, even if it's one night a week. Now, the reason I know this is I've worked with hundreds of kids. I managed to get their respect in 1 hour a week. So if I could do that in 1 hour a week, you can do that in one night a week. So yeah, check out my free behavior board or my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. So it goes free, Then the boot camp course is money. And then I'm the most, going to pay the most for coaching, obviously. Any advice for training a 3-year-old? I have a course called, what do I call it? Potty Party, something like that. I can't remember. I can never remember the name of my courses. Anyway, Potty Party, and it's all about hosting a potty party, and it's done over a weekend, and it's just you and your kid. I prefer one parent doing it rather than two. It doesn't really matter, but generally one parent's better. Do you know why? Because it's you and your kid. If you've got your spouse there or your partner there, you're going to be talking to each other. I want all the focus to be on that kid. You know what? When you're talking to each other, that kid's going to go into a corner and pee. So yeah, it's all the focus has to be on that kid, and they love it. So it's all positive. Check out that course. It's one of my mini toddler courses. Oh, I don't see my messages. No, I don't have time for that. Like, I can't. So this is where I answer all the parenting questions. And if you have questions about my services, my coaching, etc., you can email me, but I don't answer parenting questions anywhere but lives. I can imagine. I don't have time. I spent all day today answering emails, and they're not parenting questions. I just say I can't do that. So this is all sometimes I'll spend an hour maybe. I spent 3 hours the other morning answering comments and messages, and I didn't get to a 10th of them. So honestly, I don't have the time anymore. Everything's been growing, and I just don't have the time. So if I don't see your message, I just can't. But if you want to ask about my services, my coaching, then you can email me. But I don't answer parenting questions anywhere but here. Okay. If I was to answer every single email that came in, just general free advice they want about their specific situation, I would need probably 40 hours a day just to do that with no sleep, no nothing else. It's just so you can respect the position I'm in. Okay. And that's why I do this. I do these free lives all the time. This is where I'm out here. I'm free. I'm just answering your questions. Okay. Yeah. You're not going to like my answer. My 19-month-old daughter, when she's feeling really needy, grabs my hand, pulls me to stand up, then wants me to pick her up, then cries so sad whenever I sit back down. I'm just really torn on what to do with this specifically. Do you meet her needs? Do you play with her? Like, if you play with her and you know that she's got a good life, why would that bother you? I would just sit down and say, no, I'm just sitting here, and do whatever you got to do. Like, don't let her control you. That's sort of what's happening there. She'll survive if you know you're meeting her needs. She's got a good life. You spend time playing with her. Yeah, you're meeting her needs, then I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, a lot of kids look sad when things don't go all their way, when they're not in control. Yeah, they'll learn. Yeah, the potty training course. That's actually my favorite course, the potty training one, because it's my first course. I did that 15 years ago. It was actually started out as a book, and then I turned it into a course. Yeah, I did that. 15 years ago. I haven't changed it in 15 years. Okay. Is your boot camp course, in your boot camp course, do you go over possible age-appropriate consequences? Yeah, it goes from 3 to 12 years old. So I give lots of examples of different ages. A consequence for a 3-year-old, consequence for a 12-year-old, consequences for you, the parents. So yeah, there's lots of, and then once you get the idea of how to do it, then you can come up with your own creative ideas. I like you to be creative. But yeah, I give lots of, actually that course could probably go to 13 to 14, but I cut it off at 12 because for sure it's okay for 12-year-olds. Probably even 13-year-olds. But once you get 14, 15, no, that's teenage stuff. Do you have a strategy for coping with ADHD behaviors in kids? That's where I learned all this. I didn't learn this with my own kids. I learned it with all the alphabet kids I worked with. I call them alphabet kids, hundreds of them. ADHD, WXYZ, I call them all alphabet kids. Yeah, that's where I learned all this. Calm leadership. It works. So I'm just going to scroll ahead because I tend to miss, like if some people come and go and I don't want to answer questions if they've already left. Okay. Whoops. Okay, 15. Oh, good, a teenage one. That's my favorite age. I specialize in teenagers. My 15-year-old son was asked to do his homework. I gave him 1 hour to complete one assignment. I told him if he doesn't finish in 1 hour, he has to put dirty dishes in dishwasher. He slams his head on the table, punches the walls, and screams as if I'm treating him like a baby. Yeah, you got to start. I'm going to read out my top 3 By the way, teenagers are all coaching. I can't answer that quickly because I don't know your relationship with your teenager. My answer changes dramatically depending on where you're at with your teenager. How strong is your relationship with him? But if he's slamming his head on the on the table, I'm guessing you got some work to do. These are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. They will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. That's number 1. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. I would negotiate that homework there. You have to figure it out. Anyway, negotiate pretty much everything. It's not a blanket statement, but it goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? Okay, like how can I help you with this homework? What can I do to make it easier for you? You got to work with them, right? It shows respect. Once you get this relationship, it makes sense. Anyway, number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. Getting assignments done it's not huge stuff, but it's not small stuff either. But generally, you don't sweat the small stuff. Save your energy for the big stuff. You'd have a lot more energy for that homework if you didn't sweat the small stuff. See where I'm going with that? Anyway. Yeah, allow them to make mistakes. Like if they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, I would have said, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And we just laugh it off. Like, big deal. We all make mistakes. So yeah, if you want to hire me, send me an email because I can't answer that here. I need to work on your relationship. A lot of parents, when they hire me, when they've got teenagers, they're kind of disappointed in the first session because I'm just I got to assess where you are and I got to work on bonding with your teenager. I don't address their behavior. I address your understanding of where they're at and why they're acting like that. And then I have to work on you right away. Because teenagers secondary to me. So remember, I'm not fixing kids. I'm teaching parents. You lead, they will follow. Teenagers are my favorite age. Once you understand them and you know how to get respect with them, they are fascinating because they're so smart, right? All their brain powers there. They're great. Okay, just a sec here. Sorry, just got a message. I'm kind of waiting to hear from someone. They're going through something really big. It wasn't them. What's the best age to start potty training? They're all different. It could be 1.5 to 3. I trained both my kids at 2.5. They're pretty much already at 2.5. My daughter, I probably could have trained at 2. But at 2.5 is a really good age. Check out my potty training course. It's in the link above. That's my favorite course. I did that. I remember once, I used to do a lot of TV back in the day. I made that course like 15 years ago. Anyway, I used to do a lot of TV and they set up, I used to be a regular on the show, breakfast TV kind of thing. Anyway, they set up a real toilet for me to show how you potty train. And I thought, wow, here I am on TV with a toilet. I thought, wow, classy broad. Just struck me as funny. How can you parent small children, 4, 7, and 9, and lead them in the right way when your partner doesn't seem on board with being involved but lives with you? Okay, yeah, well, that's tricky. You're asking me how to control an adult? I don't know. If you want to hire me, we could work with it that way, and you negotiate with that partner. They only need one leader. But if he's intervening and sort of going against what you're doing, that's what we'd want to stop. He doesn't have to do what you do because they only need one leader, but he can't ruin what you're doing. You know what I mean? He can't sabotage you. So if you want to work with me, email me and tell me what's going on. And I'm really busy right now, but if I have time, I could maybe fit you in. Okay. I came in late. Can I watch this replay? All my lives are on YouTube permanently. Well, I don't know if 100 years from now, but anyway, and they're saved on Facebook for 30 days. The ones on Instagram and TikTok are not saved. I used to, but I don't know. I just follow orders. I have someone who does all my social media, so they just tell me what to do. So someone asked here on YouTube, at what age does the behavior board start? It starts at the age of 3 because that's when they have the ability to stop and think before they act. They can actually do that. It doesn't mean they're going to. It means they have the ability to do that. So I'm looking weird. I got weird light coming in. So they have the ability to stop and think before they act, and they can actually start to learn how to reason. They can a little bit earlier, but by 3, they all can. They can learn how to do that. Doesn't mean they will, but they can learn. Okay. Question. Since you've had so many clients, I wonder if you've noticed a trend that the moms you coach mother did not have a strong connection to their own moms. I would say, okay. My parents were wonderful. My mother, I could talk to about anything. She had a way about her. She always made me feel so confident. So I really benefited from really strong connection with my parents. I was adopted. And, so obviously they were older, they were settled, and they really wanted a kid. There was no accident when you adopt. Anyway, but I lucked out. I got really warm, lovely parents. And I think that gave me a bit of an edge. I do. I think the way you were parented gives you an edge because you've got someone to follow. Like, my parents weren't as strict as I am. I was a lot stricter. I don't know, they just let me get away with a lot more, especially my dad. He was the pleaser, my mom was the leader. I can remember going behind my mom's back, talking to my dad, trying to get something out of him. I was little. Daddy, can I please have that? And he'd go, sure, sweetie pie. He gave me whatever I wanted. But I remember one day I said, can I please have? And he goes, sure, sweetie. And then he said to me, let's check with mom first. And I said, oh, never mind. His mom was the leader. They only need one leader. It does help if you were parented in a really effective way, like with leaders. I was parented more with, my mom was more the leader, my dad was the pleaser. I would say they both leaned more towards being both pleasers, but my mom was definitely more the leader. She had the look. Okay. Oh, scrolling. Oh, goodness. It's getting busier here on Facebook. I don't know why. Facebook, I can't get to all the questions right now. Facebook used to be my slowest live. It's picking up now. Don't know why. Instagram and TikTok are busy. Okay, how can I get my 13-year-old daughter to open up more to me? She's very quiet, hardly talks to me. I make time for her. Anything to open up to me about school or friends. Okay, are you asking her about school and friends? Don't. What you do is you just be furniture. I'm going to tell you a story about my son. Okay, it might help you. My son was 14. We were best friends. He was like a girlfriend. We talked about everything. We giggled. It was great. He was my girlfriend. Then he turned into a man. He was 15. It happened one morning. I can remember it. Every morning I used to get up and I'd go, morning, sweetie. And he'd go, morning, mom, with that crackling 14-year-old voice. And, we'd chat and have fun. And then one morning he had his back to me. He was at the kitchen sink. And I said, and he's tall. He's 6 feet tall at this point. And he's filling out. He's just starting to look different, right? And I said, morning, sweetie. I'm a morning person, obviously. And he turned around and he went, morning, mom. It was like overnight. His voice didn't crack anymore. He turned into a man. He didn't want to giggle and laugh and tell me everything anymore. I thought, how am I going to connect with this young guy? Anyway, well, luckily I'd worked with a lot of teenagers, so I kind of had an idea. But anyway, what I did was I thought, well, how am I going to get close to him? Because we have nothing in common. He likes video games, the PlayStation, heavy metal music, not my stuff at all. So I thought, I know what I'll do. So what I did was that he was down the rec room playing his video games. So I sat down with a magazine beside him on the couch. I call it being furniture. I was just furniture. I sat there and I didn't say a word. I'm flipping through my magazine like this casually. Don't go on a phone though. It's different. Just look at a magazine like you just sort of, make it very obvious that you're just hanging around. Look up at what he's doing every so often. Next thing you know, he's talking to me about the game. Next thing you know, he's handing me a controller and we're gaming together. So that became sort of more of a regular thing. And then he started making me playlists of his favorite music, songs he thought I might like. I ended up loving NWA's Greatest Hits. I won't repeat it because it's so filthy rude. But he opened my eyes to a whole bunch of different music. And that's how we connected. But I didn't use that opportunity to talk. Okay, now that we're talking, can you tell me all about your big feelings? Don't do that. They will shut you out. It'll come out naturally. The better you get at this, just sitting there, entering their world. You enter their world, but you wait till you're invited. You don't go crashing into it. Like I just sat there waiting to be invited. And then, that's how I did it. And that kid's pretty much told me everything. But with teenagers, if you try and pry it out of them, they'll slam shut. The more you're furniture and you're just there while they're playing games, next thing you know, they're telling you everything, right? And you go, oh, okay. Don't gather information to lecture with. You just listen, just shut up and listen. A lot of parents can't do that. And believe me, I'm a talker, but I knew with teenagers, use these, not this. When they start opening up, yeah, that would be frustrating. Is it painful? Yep. Does it work? Yeah, they'll tell you everything. And when they're talking to you about stuff, they're not going to go astray. If they've just talked to mom about something, you think they're going to go out and do it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't tend to get in trouble because they've got you're a safe place to land. They can tell you anything. You're not going to judge them. Okay. Sometimes parents say to me, is it too late? They're 16 years old. Well, I specialize in teenagers. It's never too late. It's harder. It's a lot harder. If you've been sort of nagging them at odds with them for 16 years. And then, yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. Might be 6 months. You should start to see results within probably 3 to 6 weeks, but it's going to take it's going to take a while. So, but it's worth it, right? You want your kids to be able to tell you anything. The thing is, once you have that relationship, they don't go astray because they're going to tell you everything. They're not going to do anything they don't want to tell you. Do you get that? Laughed at this. My son was a classmate. He was about 16, and a classmate said to him, "Hey, ma'am, would you ever break the law?" And my son said, like, he's very funny, and he just said, "Are you kidding me? I'd be terrified my mom would get to me before the police would." He wasn't afraid of me, but he would be horrified to disappoint me because we were close, right? So, yeah, keeps them in line. Being really close to them keeps them in line. Okay, I have 3 boys, 4, 2, and 1. Ooh, they are close in age. They don't listen and are almost out of control. Okay, I suggest the boot camp course for you. Check that out. It's in the link above, and it's a 5-week course. It's all about you and your leadership. The 2 and the 1-year-old are not part of it, just the 4-year-old. The little ones are watching you with the older one. So just get everything organized with the older one. And they go on the behavior board, but you'll see. Anyway, check it out. If you don't want to get the boot camp course, just check out the behavior board. But if you really like the behavior board and you think you'd want the boot camp course, don't do the behavior board first. Get the boot camp course and do it there because it's a lot more intensive, right? It's better off to not do, if you're going to hire me or buy the boot camp course, it's better that you don't do the behavior board on your own first. Most have, and what we do is we use it to our advantage with coaching. I know how to use that to my advantage when I'm coaching you. If you've messed it up. That's why you hire me, because you messed it up. There's always something you've done wrong. It's always one of the clients recently, a lot of people put stuff like this on there. The kids' rule is listen to everything I say the first time I say it. Like, are you kidding me? They may as well write down be a perfect child. I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, that's a little bit unrealistic. So anyway. Okay, I'm going to get going soon just to let you know, but I'll answer one more question. In the meantime, you can check out the link in the above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course. That's 5 weeks for you to be a leader. That's all it is. It's all paced out over 5 weeks. And I start slow. It's not 5 weeks of hell. I start you off, I ease you into it. Anyway, and then, or you can hire me for coaching. I'm really busy right now. You can't do it automatically anymore. I'm just too busy. So you can send me an email, and the priority people are ones who write crisis in the subject line, but you actually have to be in crisis. It's life and death stuff is what I'm talking about. Abuse, teenagers who self-harm, stuff like that. That's crisis work. Or if you were a past client, I'll see it anyway. It'll be flagged up there. So they take priority. But yeah, crisis is not, my 4-year-old has a tantrum every day. I get emails like that all the time. That is not crisis. Just so you know. It doesn't mean I can't take you. It means that I can't always take you. Sometimes some days I can, some days I can't. When I say take you in, I mean sign you up. I only take so many new clients a day. Okay. I have 11 kids. Should I attend the older one first or the younger one? Oh, for sure the older one. Always the older one. Yeah. 11 kids. I think the biggest family I ever had, I got a big family right now, but the biggest family I ever had, I think, was 8 kids, I think. And they were all natural, like they were all their biological children, no adoption or anything. But yeah, so 11, good for you. You must be busy. Whenever I deal with big families, there's a lot of systems, like a lot, especially as they get older. When they're little, we're just focused on the older ones. But as they get older, like if they're teenagers and that, it's all systems, system after system. That's our focus. The more organized you get, the more of a leader you look like too. I wish I found out these tips for teenagers 5 years ago. Such great tips. Yeah, teenagers are my favorite age for a very good reason. Once you know how to deal with them, they're wonderful. They're just the best because they're so smart. They're developed. Their brain is fresh and they're developed, and you're going to learn a lot from them because they see the world with the same, better brain power. I'm 63. My brain's all shriveled up into a raisin by now, I'm sure. But at their age, their brain power is at its height when they're teenagers. They just don't have the wisdom and experience yet, but they can still analyze things, take information in, and assess it. And you watch them. If you're not learning from your kids, you're missing out. They're going to teach you a whole bunch of stuff about life. They can just see things through fresh eyes. It's great. Okay. So I got to skip ahead again because people come and go. They're pinned on her face. Yeah. Oh, the courses. Everything I've got to offer in my business is in the, I don't know what it's, I don't do my social media, and I don't know anything about it. It's in my description. Is that what that is on Facebook? It's just one, as far as I know, it's just one link. And you just click on that. And everything I've got in my business is on there. Be really careful. Don't, if you're going to go searching for me on Google, there's evidently imposters out there using my picture. And and sort of my name, but they're not allowed, they can't use bratbusters.com because I own that. But be careful. Just follow the link. It's the safest bet. Because once you get bigger, I've got a decent following now. People start, impostering you. Is that what it's called? Anyway, it's just sad. They get money out of people too. It's really sad. Daughter 8 years old. Oh, shoot, I got to go. I'm late. I got to go over to Instagram right now. If you want to follow me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. Anyway, happy parenting. I'm moving over. I'm on YouTube the whole time, by the way. Whoops. Come on, Facebook. There we go. Instagram. I do this all the time. I'm always like, Alexa, start 28-minute timer.
28 minutes, starting now.
So that'll be for TikTok. So I won't be late for that. Okay, I'm on Instagram now. I'm going to go to, may I ask, what are your thoughts on homeschooling? I don't have an opinion on homeschooling. It's a personal choice. It's like religion, politics. There's no right and wrong. The only thing I've seen consistently, which can be a little bit of an issue with homeschooled children, is when they get in high school and they're mainstream, their social skills can often be lacking because they're homeschooling is a very tight-knit community. So just socialize your kids outside of the homeschool community also. So mix it up. Don't just socialize with other homeschool kids because when they go to high school, they're usually mainstreamed, right? If they go to high school. So yeah, they're going to struggle socially. That's the only thing I've seen consistently. Hi, Australia. That's where my kids were born and raised, in Australia, Sydney and Brisbane. What time zone are you in? I'm in Vancouver, Canada, so it's same as California. It's Pacific. So right now it would be 5 p.m., 5:02. What are your thoughts on spanking? Spanking, yelling, what's another one? Timeout. They're all very weak. They might work in the moment, but they backfire. I can't stand any of them. So yeah, lots of people do it. It's just what you do when you don't know what else to do. Okay. So yeah, most of my clients yell. A lot of them spank, and they're humiliated, telling me like I don't hear that every single day. No, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help things, right? So yeah, most parents yell for sure. But yeah, no, it's just spanking and yelling are kind of bullying tactics that work in the moment, but they backfire down the road for sure. Sleep training. I don't like it, but I did it. It's one of those horrible things. I think probably the only horrible thing I ever did that I just felt awful about, but I wanted to do it because I didn't want to be getting up, every single night. So I think I did it with my son. He was the harder one. He was, I think, about 10 months old. And I thought, this is it. I don't want to keep getting up breastfeeding all night. Anyway, so I did it, but I let him cry. And then I'd go in there every 5 minutes. You're okay. You're okay. And then I'd go sit outside his bedroom door and cry. I just sat there sobbing. It was horrible, but it only took one night. So it was one of those things that's horrible to do, but to me, it was worth it. You got to decide, it's one of those, I don't like it. I can't really say this is what you should do. It's horrible, but what else are you going to do? I don't know how else to get a baby to sleep through the night. Hi, New Zealand. We used to ski because we lived in Australia, and we used to take the kids and ski in Queenstown. Talk about a gorgeous little town that was. Oh, loved it. Loved it. Grammy here. How can I be? Oh, I don't teach grandparenting. Like I'm a grandmother. I don't. You can refer your daughter to me and to watch, but yeah, I don't tell other people how to tell other people I don't tell people how to tell other people how to parent. I stay in my lane. I only teach parenting. Like a huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I couldn't do any of those. I don't teach any of that. So yeah, I only teach to parents. Would you say your parenting style is more authoritarian or authoritative or neither? Well, I say there's the old-fashioned authority. They're more the dictator, my way or the highway. Not a bad way to parent, but they rebel in the teen years, but they come out the other end respecting you and appreciating what you did for them. Then there's the new style. It's been about 30, 40 years now. The pleaser parent style. That is a disaster. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. This is an adult who's been raised by a pleaser parent. You didn't validate my feelings. So I'm just a bus driver, lady. It's that really entitled victim stuff because you were trying to please them, make everything fun for them. It's a disaster. Anyway, yeah, I'm neither of those. I'm the leader. I teach you give respect to get it. I'm more like a sports coach. I'm fun. I lead with fun. So I play with kids a lot in their world. I connect with them in their world, and that gets you respect. But I don't take any crap either. I deal with the bad behavior, but then I focus on the good kid. My goal as the leader is to make kids feel good about themselves. A kid who's acting out does not feel good about themselves. So yeah, I call it leadership parenting. I just made that up. I don't know. Makes sense to me. The only role that I always equate it to is a good sports coach. They get the best out of the kids. They have rules. The kids look up to them. Would kids ever be rude to a sports coach that they love? You're like a mentor. You're someone they look up to. You're fun, though, too. You're fun. Okay. Australia, hello. I guess, you know, I was in Australia for 20 years. That's where my kids were born and raised. And I was taught, I have like several Australian clients right now. And they didn't know who Uncle Arthur is. Because you're all younger than me now. Uncle Arthur was Glenn Robbins. That was his breakout character on one of those SCTVs or one of those shows. I don't know what it was called. Can't remember the name of the show. One of those comedy skit shows that they used to have. Eric Bana also. He was crazy. He was nuts. He did Puida. And it's funny because all my memories of Australia were like none of my clients even know these people because I'm so old, right? But yeah, do you remember Uncle Arthur? You ever hear about him? He was just Glenn Robbins' breakout character. Also, Cat Empire. I've seen them 7 times here in Vancouver now. I remember the first time they were ever on TV, and it was Hello, Hello. So anyway, I loved Australia. Well, it was home. I only moved back because my mom got sick. She was elderly. That's why I'm back in Canada. She's gone now, but I had a few great years with her. Okay. Now, my 6-year-old son is super hyperactive and does not listen well to other adults. Sports, etc. How can I get him to participate in sports and listen to coaches? Well, usually, does he listen to you? If he doesn't listen to you, how do you expect him to listen to other people? And especially if he's hyperactive, you got to be extra good at leadership. So yeah, check out my boot camp course. That might be for you. If it's next level, like it's just really difficult and you want my personal help, you have to email me and see if coaching is for you. Check out my coaching page first, though. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta. When you cement your leadership, I call it the leadership umbrella. By the age of about 3.5 and 4, when you're a really good leader for your kids, they carry that leadership umbrella everywhere. When they respect you, they tend to respect everybody. It's like they just carry your umbrella around because they feel good about themselves. Leaders make kids feel great about themselves. Well, God, you're going to hate my answer. What to do when toddler is drinking shampoo? Why on earth would a toddler have access to that? Childproof it. Don't have it accessible. Another Australian. I got a whole bunch of Australians. I got several Australian clients right now. I think one in Sydney, I think. And obviously, you can't guess who it is. Sydney's a very big city. But anyway, and then I've got a few in Queensland. And that, yeah. My son was born in Sydney. My daughter was born in Brisbane. And my son, we moved back to Canada. My kids were 10 and 15. So my son, he's 34 now. He still has his Australian accent. My daughter doesn't. She was 10 when we moved here. Toddler won't give you something and you have to grab it from them. Any alternative? No, if you say, may I please have that? And they say no, then you just take it. You don't say anything though. Like words are weak. That toddlers are about consistent corrective actions. So you've already said what needs to be done. They choose not to do it. It's like if I said, okay, let's get dressed now, we're going to head out, and they ran, I would pick them up and go and put their clothes on. They might end up with their head in the leg hole. I don't care. They're going to have those clothes on. I don't repeat myself. I don't keep asking. As soon as you have to ask for something twice, you're begging, and they're in charge. Okay, you can't have that. Give it to mommy, please. And if they won't, I just take it. You don't grab it, but you take it. Yeah, absolutely. But don't say anything. Let them have a fit. Everyone's afraid of this. Well, what if they have a meltdown? That's what you want. That's them transitioning into your leadership. That's them learning, hey, I don't get all my own way. That's behind every fit scene or a tantrum is a lesson. That's gold. You know, I often mention that 8-year-old I was asked to work with. He was difficult. And he said to me, he didn't know me. He said to, he wouldn't have said this if he did. He said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said, bring it on. Just like that, deadpan face. And he went like that, and he never did. You think I'm afraid of a fit or a scene or a tantrum? It's like, bring it on. That's when I have the opportunity to exercise my leadership. You can't scare me. I'm the leader. I'm not afraid of your fit scenes and tantrums. Most parents are afraid of that. How can we avoid a fit scene or a tantrum? You mean give them whatever they want and be the pleaser parent and raise a self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues? That's what you're asking me. If you're trying to parent just to avoid scenes, yeah, they're in charge. They know it. Trying to give my 11-year-old a say and negotiate more. I ask her what she wants from me, but her requests are absolute no's, like dressing immediate and modestly. I don't know what's going on there. Like, I don't know your relationship with her. Yeah, I would have too many questions. I'd have to assess the situation first. No is like dressing immodestly. So she wants to, you might have to hire me for that one, or you can at least check out the boot camp course, set yourself up as a leader, and then that might not happen. But yeah, I'd have to ask too many questions. That's not a quick live answer. You know what I mean? It's like someone wrote to me, I think it was yesterday, I can't remember, and they said, how do I get respect from my 16-year-old? No, how do I get my 16-year-old to listen to me? Well, I have to assess the situation, decide how to proceed in a way that you can handle it, and your 16-year-old, you know what I mean? Like some questions are, you need a bit more than just this. Okay. What consequences for a 3-year-old appropriate for fit tantrums or not listening? Well, you never punish for a fit or a tantrum. That's absolutely not. They're not bad behavior. They're their brain processing, not getting their own way, and not listening. You just get the boot camp course. It sets you up as a leader, and that just doesn't happen. That's just a byproduct of your lack of leadership. That's all that is. So set yourself up as a leader, and that just doesn't happen. Well, they'll still have fits and tantrums till about 3.5, maybe 4, but after that, they should go away. Because by the age of 3.5 to 4, they only do what works. If having tantrum is still working, they'll keep doing it. They'll keep doing it till they're 40, because they work. Three-year-old son's at daycare and he's disruptive. Okay, what's he like at home? So you may say he's perfect at home. There's a couple of answers for that. If he's perfect at home, it might be just because you're giving in to him and he doesn't have to share anything, and he's always the center of attention. So are you the pleaser parent who's giving him all his own way? Well, at daycare, they don't do that, nor should they. Or is he also difficult at home? Both of the solutions are you set yourself up as a leader, and that'll be fine. The third one could be something's happening at daycare that he really doesn't like. Might be upsetting him. Don't worry, it might not be anything big, or it might just be something little. So there's 3 reasons. Either they're also difficult at home, or you just give in to them at home, so they aren't difficult, or something's upsetting them at daycare or school. Check out the boot camp course. Set yourself up as a leader. It's a good thing to do anyway, right? Sorry. How do you handle a 16-year-old that's being intentionally rebellious to get what they want? You got to work on your parenting. That's okay. I'm going to read out my top. You can hire me for coaching because teenage stuff's all coaching. But my only basic advice for teenagers is this. These are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. And it's a slow burn. It's not going to happen overnight. But think about this. They're my best tips for parenting teenagers. General. If I'm coaching you, it's personal. This is general. Number 1, you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. They don't feel respected. If you're judging them and then giving them advice on what they just said, That's not going to work. Okay. They want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything with a teenager. It goes something like this. I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? It goes something like that. You can't, it's not a blanket statement, but you want to negotiate more. Give them more of a say on how their life goes. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. They're going to make mistakes just like you did, and you continue to do, and it's okay to make mistakes. Okay, if they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, I would say, hey, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And just laugh it off because no big deal. You save your energy for the big stuff if you're going to need it. Okay, that's where you might want to hire me if you got big stuff going on. They're my favorite age. I started my business 17 years ago, and I used to specialize in teen crisis work. And one time, I used to do a lot of TV and radio when it was more popular. And anyway, I was introduced on the 6 o'clock news. Some teenager had done something to himself. I won't say what, but anyway. And they asked me how to prevent that. That's why I was on. I was at the top of the news, 6 o'clock news here in Vic. And they introduced me as the crisis queen. And I didn't like it. They were really nice to me. You know, they were very nice, but I didn't like that. I don't want to be I don't want to be a queen for one thing. And I don't want to just be known for crisis work. So because I want to do the prevention, I still do crisis work, but I don't lead with that anymore. But yeah, I remember that. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to switch my message. So, yeah. But when you're doing other people's media like TV and radio, it's their curriculum, what they want to talk about. And they like anything that's controversial or, you know, gets people's emotions going. So that's why it was always the crisis stuff, right? If I went in and just talked about being a leader, they'd probably kick me out in the curb. Okay, toddler who throws down toys or food. Let's go with the food. So they're in the high chair and they throw food. I would say no. I pick it up, throw it away, and then I hand feed them. Do not let them touch food again. They're going to have a fit. They probably won't eat for the rest of that session. Just say, okay, you're all done then. Let's clean them up and get down. Half hour later, you can try it again. You hand them the food, not much. Give them a little bit. They throw it, say no, throw it away, and then hand feed them. They'll eventually learn. They're going to get hungry enough, they'll actually eat. No, I don't ignore it. No. Why not just hug them if they want a hug? What are you talking about? You mean if they're having a fit, scene, or a tantrum? I want a hug. It's just a way to pull you in and get your attention. I don't validate or give them attention then. You can ignore a tantrum, a fit, or a scene. If that damages your child in any way, you got bigger problems to worry about. If your children do not feel safe and loved enough to be able to have their tantrum ignored, you got bigger fish to fry. You might want to hire me, okay? You don't need to validate every single movement that they make. And having a fit, scene, or a tantrum, you ignore that. There's a way of doing it. You've probably seen me talk about this enough. Anyway, I do have a course on toddler tantrums if you're interested. And I go through that in my boot camp course. I talk about tantrums with all ages. I don't know what you said the first. I think you were probably talking to someone else. You said at 4 we left the play date. Work like a charm for the next one. So they were acting out, and you said if you're not good, we're going to leave, and then you left. Is that what you mean? Good thing to do. You never threaten something you're not going to follow through on. And at 4, they remember that. At 2, they won't remember that. I remember my son was probably 4, and we were living in Brisbane. And I drove down to Dream World, which is a huge theme park. It's wonderful. It's only like an hour's drive. My friend also drove down with her kids. You know, you got car seats, so we needed our own cars. So anyway, we both drove down separately, her and her kids and me and my son. And I was pregnant. I think I was pregnant at the time with my daughter. Anyway, he had a miserable look on his face. He was more inclined to be moody. He had tantrums. It was just his basic nature, right? He's just moodier. And so he had a bit of a frown on his face. And I said, when we got there, I was fed up with this. We got there and I said to him, we were right at the front gate to Dream World. I said, if you don't put a smile on your face, we're driving home right now. My friend went, oh no, because she knows when I say, and instantly I thought, why did I say that? Because I knew if he didn't put a smile on his face, I'd have to drive home. He went like this. And then it turned into a real smile. So yeah, I guess he just didn't like the drive or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, never threaten something you're not going to follow through on. As soon as I said it, because my friend knows me, I said, we're going to drive. Oh, no. My 4-year-old will have a tantrum while on a play date. Do we move somewhere else so she can have it and then return once it's over like you would in a restaurant? Yeah, I would. So if she's having a tantrum, pull her away from the action, the play date, and then just stand there filing your nails. As soon as she's done, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go back. No big deal. No big deal. You never punish or discuss a tantrum. Some of my clients are child psychologists, and one of them actually really didn't agree with that and said, "Why do you not discuss a tantrum?" And I said, "Why would you?" They couldn't come up with anything. They did, but I debunked it all. No, it's just a tantrum is a reaction to not getting their own way. Do you really need to validate that? It's a reaction to them not being in charge. Do you really need to validate that? Nope. Let them process it. Let their brain go through that process and understand that you're the leader, not them. That's all it is. So yeah. Yeah, can we use your parameters in a class of 12 toddlers? Absolutely not. I know nothing about teaching or daycaring or anything like that. A huge portion of my clients are daycare workers, teachers, principals, child psychologists. You've all got degrees I could never compete with. I haven't got a clue how to do any of that, okay? But I know parenting. It's different. There's no degree, there's no PhD. Well, there is. My kids are adults. They're high-functioning adults. And I've worked with hundreds of kids. That's my PhD, if you were to have one in parenting. I don't know how do you have that? But anyway, it's different because it's personal. So I can't teach what you do in daycare centers with other people's kids. But a lot of those people are using my tactics. Some does cross over quite well. Others doesn't. Don't, I guess. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, some stuff crosses over, but some doesn't. One really good example that's very popular in classrooms that does not cross over at home at all is the reward charts. A reward chart at school is great. It's not personal, even if it's about behavior, because you got 30 kids. They don't take it personally. School is a business. It's an institution. It's different. Home is personal. If you put a reward chart for good behavior up on the wall, you know what you're saying to your kids? You're normally rotten. If you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. There's no freaking way I would pay for good behavior. That's my baseline expectation. I wouldn't pay for that. You were good. What? Like you grow up and you hold a door open for someone, you expect them to pay you? Like you always want a reward just for being normal? To me, that being good is just normal. That's my baseline. I do not pay for that. No rewards for that. I know one of my kids, would have been my son, one of my kids questioned me. They said, well, my friend, whenever he says please, he gets a treat. And I said, your treat is having me as a mother. He never said anything like that ever again. He went, oh. Yeah, I'm not going to pay for that. Are you kidding me? My 12-year-old still throws a fit when she is told no, she can't have something, even if I don't give in and give it to her. I don't understand why she still carries on even though I don't give in. History, does it upset you? There's a payoff for that. Absolutely, 100%. There's a payoff. I don't know what it is. Is it your being upset about it? Gives her a little bit of satisfaction. She's trying to get back at you. She has some resentment towards you. Pretty sure that's it. So even if you don't give in, I'm pretty sure that's it. If it's that bad, you might want to hire me for coaching. If it's that bad. Yeah. Anyway, check it out. Coaching. Everything's in the link above. That's her resentment towards you. How long does it take to transition from pleaser to leader parent? Okay, well, I had a client this morning, and I never say names, obviously. I thought they were going to be difficult because they're such pleasers, and I thought they were going to be real pleasers. Well, this is session 2 today. They're killing it. They're doing fantastic. In 1 week, we've already seen results. So yeah, they really surprised me because I just thought they just wanted to spoil her, and and like a lot of parents do, right? They're very loving, so they're beautiful people, and so I thought, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to get them not to spoil her. They're doing great, so they've seen the results in 1 week. So yeah, it can be, but then you still got to keep going, right? They got 5 sessions, so they still got to keep going. We're learning stuff, and we're trying something else. We're going to go to the next level, then the next level. But yeah, it can be. You can see results in a week. That was the one. Oh my God. I just love this session. It was one of my favorite sessions I've had in a long time. This girl it was the same parents. I got permission to share this. She didn't like that behavior board because she loved the fact that her parents have rules and consequences, but she decided she didn't like it because she's on there too, obviously. She got a consequence. You know what she said to her parents? She's 8. She said, you guys are great parents. You don't need that woman. She's using flattery to get rid of me. Never heard that. Like, how clever. I was so impressed with that. I would have a really hard time not going, wow, that was good. It was really cute. So I thought that was precious. I've never heard that before. Using flattery to get out of the behavior board, and then she ripped it off the wall. But anyway, put it back up. But yeah, I thought that was the cutest thing. Can I do your course even if my husband's not on board? What you do is you say, because this happens a lot. A lot of times, and I'll tell you why this goes. I understand men, only because I raised one. I didn't understand men until I raised one. And I don't know everything. They still are a bit of a mystery to me, but overall, I kind of get them. Men are fixers, okay? If they can't fix their family, it's kind of like kicking them in the knackers, right? They just, it hits them where they're not happy about it, right? So this is a lot of my clients. This is the mom, and this is the dad. I get that a lot. Usually by the end of it, I use enough humor in that and we get them on board and all that. But what happens is I say, look, if you don't want to be part of this, then you agree to not undermine the leader. The one who's doing what I say, don't just agree to defer to them. Just do it for 5 weeks. That's all I'm asking. That's all I have them for is 5 weeks. Or if you're doing the course, you just say it's 5 weeks. Give me that. You defer to me. So if the kids are doing something, say, let's check with mom or let's check with dad. Okay, whoever's doing the course. So just get them to agree to defer to you while you're learning how to do this. Say, look, I put some money into it, so I want to make it work. Here's the thing, is once, this was a while ago now, but it's not happened just once, it's happened a few times now, is the father doesn't want to be part of it. Now what happens is once the mom becomes the leader, he gets jealous because the leader is the one the kids tend to get closer to. And then they'll hire me behind the mom's back. And they'll learn how to do it on their own. And then but they don't want the mom to know. I say, can we please bring her in on this? Like, I just can't, and they all do, they agree later on. But yeah, they start to get jealous because the leader's getting all the respect and the kids are getting closer to the leader. The leader also is the fun one, usually. So the other parent usually gets on board, but don't rub it in. See, I told you, don't do that. Just say, yeah, it's great. Come on, you can do it too. After the potty course worked like a charm for pee, but my daughter's screaming and crying. Yeah, poop is, like I'm so serious. Yes, poop is difficult. Anyway, a lot of kids, especially little boys, and you'll understand in a minute, don't want to poop on the toilet. So they'll pee, but then they don't want to poop. So I call it poop phobia. And there's 3 reasons for it. One is, think about it, when they're going in their pants, it's all warm, smashed up, and there's no hanging. There's no pulling, right? So they're used to that. They've been doing that for 2 or 3 years, right? So all of a sudden on the toilet, it hangs, it's not smashed up and warm, and it might even splash back. That's the big one, splashing back. And the reason I said it's usually more boys than girls that go through this is they got more equipment hanging down there. They really don't like that splashback. So what you do is you get a little porta potty, just one of those cheap little things that sit on the floor. It doesn't have to be, some of them are really fancy. It doesn't have to be that. And you say, look, this is going to be nice and warm. Hike the heat up in the bathroom. Have them help. Put toilet paper in the bottom. Say it won't be hanging and there's no water to splash you. And hike up the heat. Then get the iPad out. Put their favorite show on that they can only watch when they're trying to poop on there. Give it a go that way. But yeah, it's extremely common. Oh, okay. I got to get moving over to TikTok soon. I don't want to be late. Alexa, stop timer. I've been late every time.
minute timer canceled.
Because I keep being late for this. I keep forgetting to move over. Anyway, check out my link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching, which you can't do automatically. I only have the 5-session option now. I'm just so busy. So I can only take so many clients on each day. So it just depends on where I'm at. Now, if you're a past client, you'll be flagged on my email. So I'll see it and you'll get top priority. And if you're in crisis, and when I say crisis, I mean life and death, abuse, all that kind of big stuff, then you'll get top priority. Okay, so I'll always take a crisis client, probably before even a past client. So anyway, and you have to email me if you want to work with me. But check that all out. It gives you all the information in the link above. And I'm moving over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. And I'm on YouTube the whole time. Okay. Someone said in YouTube, is this live now? Yes, I'm live right now. Yes. But it will do a replay. But you can tell when it's playing live, like right now it is. But then you'll see it later and I'll still be saying right now it is. Don't ask me. It's a Truman thing. The Truman Show threw me for a loop. I can't stand anything confusing like that. Anyway, I'm going over to TikTok now. Take care. Happy parenting. So many buttons to push. TikTok's different now. They play ads as soon as you turn it on. They didn't used to do that. So it's an extra button for me to push. I was talking to someone this morning. Every so often, I'm in Vancouver. I'm not local. I used to be because I used to do a lot of TV and radio. And so a lot of people knew me when I was driving around. And I don't get that much anymore because I'm online now, right? So my anonymity is pretty important to me, but every so often I'll see people looking at me. You just know they've seen me on here. So it's always kind of awkward. Anyway, it's funny. Okay, so I'm on TikTok now and I'm also on YouTube. So I'm going to answer some YouTube questions. Someone asked me about homeschooling. Did I already answer that? I think I did. Yeah, I have no opinion on that. It's like religion, all that stuff. I have no opinion. It's personal choice. Oh, yeah, I did already answer that. Sorry. I don't get many questions on YouTube. That's my smallest audience, then Facebook, then Instagram, then TikTok. TikTok's my big one. That's where I started online, really. I've been online forever, but I never really put a lot into it until a couple of years ago. And it was TikTok is where I kind of blew up. Why don't our kids 11 and 8 listen to us on our first, second request? Are we supposed to threaten with consequences? No. They're 11 and 8. Check out my boot camp course. I never repeat myself. I say something once, then I take action. Yeah. Do you make house calls? Oh, gosh, no. Could you imagine? So busy. No, I don't do anything in person anymore. It's all online. I used to do stuff like that. You do anything when you first start out. Now I do what I got time for. So that was 17 years ago. I think I only did one, and I thought, no, I'm never going to do this again. You can never charge as much as it costs you to get in your car, drive there. So it's just so awful. No good, yeah. Oh, God, you're going to hate my answer. I'm going to use humor here. How can I get my almost 3-year-old to eat when she is home, but she eats everything at my mom's? Maybe your mom's a better cook like my mom was. Could that be it? Moms are usually better cooks. I'm not. I cook with hate. I hate cooking. But I made everything from scratch with my kids, and I hated cooking. But I was really good at throwing in healthy stuff. I would puree spinach, flax seeds, wheat germ, everything I pureed everything and shoved it into everything. So I made sure they were getting same food. That's funny. I tested it. LOL. Yeah. I really hate cooking. I despise it. And I did it for 30 years for a family from scratch. No junk food in the house. It was a nightmare. Yeah, I hated it. I never cook. I barely know how to turn on my oven. I eat I'm a gluten-free health food vegan, so all my stuff's just fresh and I just eat it like I don't cook. God, I hate it. Okay, but I love cleaning. I'm working on my leadership. How do I know when to listen and when to set in? Any examples, please? You're going to have to give me an example. Do you know how many thousands of examples I could possibly have? Tell me an age and an example, and then I'll do my best to answer it. You might want to check out, when you meet their needs and manage their wants. So you have to know what wants and needs are. Needs are, like if they're demanding more screen time and you think it's unfair, I'd say, no, you're not getting any more. That's it. Like, I can't be questioned. Once I've laid down the law, you can't question me. Like what I mean is once I know I'm fair and reasonable and, but if I'm a little bit shaky about that, my kids certainly would have asked me. They would have said, Mom, I'm not so sure that was fair, but they were so polite when they asked me that I'd say, really, why? Then they'd state their case and I go, yeah, you're right. I was unfair. So you can have that. So yeah. This is cute. What's a good age for pottery training? I'm 63 and I'm going to start learning. Anyway, potty training is about 2.5. It can be anywhere from 2 to 3, but 2.5, they're almost all ready for it. So my course is potty training. It's called Potty Party, I think. I can't remember. It's one of my mini courses. That's I think tantrums actually is my most popular course. Oh, that and the potty training, they're very close. But potty training is my favorite. It's a whole system and it's a party. So 2.5 is a whole system in how you potty train. 2.5 is a good age. Okay. Now, if they show signs earlier, do you encourage feeding it? So in other words, if they don't like having their wet diaper on and they're like 1.5, do you potty train then? That's a tough call to make, because just because they don't like being in a wet diaper one day might mean they're okay with it the next day. Sometimes they will be potty trained at 1.5, but that's your call. I wanted to make sure there was never going to be, it's harder for them to not have accidents when they're little. So by 2.5, I knew they were capable of holding it. So I just wanted to wait till they were ready. My daughter, I'm pretty sure I could have trained it too. And my son, I completely trained on 1 day using that method I teach. My daughter was 2 days. But yeah, he was 1 day. No pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. But you take that porta potty everywhere you go. I remember once, he was just trained. He was 2.5. And I went grocery shopping. And this is in Australia. And their supermarkets there are not freestanding. They're inside a mall. Like there's no external, you have to walk in the mall, then go to the supermarket. Well, we're at the checkout, all the family groceries for the week. And we're at the checkout, going through it all. And he says to me, I have to go poo. And I looked at it, and all the other mothers around the checkout, they were all mothers. And they all looked at me like this. and I said, can you wait, sweetie? We're almost done. He goes, I have to go poo now. And the checkout lady just said, go, we'll pack. And they packed everything up. Anyway, I had to run with him the length of the mall, holding his bum, running. And then I held him over I hate public toilets. I held him. It was quicker to do that than to go up to the car to get the porta potty. Hell, and he pooped in the toilet. I just made it. But the joys of potty training. How do you get your toddler to listen to you? You don't really. They're not necessarily going to listen to you, but you take action. You make what you want to happen. But it doesn't mean they're going to listen to you. Does that make any sense? Here's a good example. If you say to them, okay, we're going to get in the car seat, and they have a fit and they won't do it, put them in kicking and screaming, wait till they take a breath and fold them in half, clip them in. So you take action. You make it happen anyway. Come on, we're going to get you dressed. No, and they're kicking and screaming. My kids would have been dressed. I would have picked them up and got them dressed. Doesn't mean that they would have had their head and their arms in the right places. You know what I mean? But they would have been dressed. So it's not that they listen to you. It's just they learn that when you say something's good. Like I didn't say, get dressed now. I said, okay, got to get dressed. We're going to head out. They kind of just listened. Like there was no asking. It was just, this is what's going to happen. But then if they had run or said no, I would have gotten dressed anyway. So you say something, then you may take action. It's so draining, but definitely worth it. Yeah, it's hard. Learning how to do all this is hard. Once you get it, like getting respect is hard. Maintaining it is a piece of cake. You want to do the hard work to get it, because then you can sail right through the teen years like I did. The odd hiccup. Not many. Nothing big. Okay. I'm going to tell you this cute story. I've told it on Facebook and YouTube. If you're still here, you've already heard it. So cute. Really darling couple I was coaching this morning. They have an 8-year-old little girl. Obviously smart as a whip. And she didn't like the behavior board. You know what she said to her parents? She said to them, you guys are great parents. You don't need that woman. I've never heard of a kid buttering the parents up to get out of the behavior board, using flattery to get out of it. Then she tore it off the wall and they put it back on. But anyway, isn't that hilarious? Oh, that was really clever. I would, if she said that to me, I would have said, well done, but it's staying. Isn't that cute? She used flattery. I've never heard that before. Yeah, what a little genius. That's exactly what I thought. I thought, ooh, that was clever. I asked the parents, I said, yeah, you can share that. I was just laughing. I lost it. I thought it was the cutest thing. Kids are so funny. Oftentimes I'm in coaching, I'm laughing and the parents are all upset about something and I'll just start laughing. Then they realize they're just kids. I mean, you got to kind of laugh it off sometimes, right? Then they'll say, why are you laughing? I said, because kids are hilarious. Think about it. If someone else told you that their kids did that, wouldn't you laugh? They go, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. 3-year-old daughter just does not listen and pretty much acts like she's ignoring us. So she snubs you. Okay. You never put attitude. You can't deal with that. That's just a tell. It means she doesn't respect you. Work on your leadership and she will. Check out my boot camp course. That's all about you and your leadership. They do not snub a leader. There's no way. They just would never do that. So yeah. At 3, 3 is a fork in the road. At 3, if you're already kind of a leader, toddlers pick up on that. If you're already kind of a leader, by the time they hit 3, when you're a leader, they get easy as anything. Super easy, okay? Because they've lost all that toddler crazy stuff. But the other way is if you've been a pleaser, trying to beg them to do stuff and giving in to their demands and being afraid of their tantrums, they go the other way. They take charge. That's the fork in the road. It starts at 3. They either get really easy with a leader or they get really challenging with a pleaser. You can see it. Like a lot of parents say, they were so different and then they turned 3. That's because they went, oh, wait a minute. You're not a leader. I think I will be. So they find their power. That's what happens. Okay. 18-month-old smiles at me when she's doing something wrong. Yeah, they're going to do that. Don't let it bother you. That's just their way of testing you. How do you manage a child who is a leader? A child cannot be a leader. They can lead other children, but they cannot lead an adult. So not unless you let them. So yeah, children can't be leaders. It's an adult quality. They can lead other children, but I think I'm leading more than my husband, and it shows. The kids know it too. Yeah, there's usually one leader and one pleaser in the family. There's never an authority and a leader. They don't mix. But a leader and a pleaser, or an authority and a pleaser. There's usually one parent who's in charge, in other words. So they don't both have to be. You just said, can both parents be leaders? Yeah, you can both be leaders. You can both be pleasers. But you can both be an authority also, but there usually is one clear authority, one clear leader. Like my mom was the leader, my dad was the pleaser, but he deferred to her. And I was the leader, my ex-husband was the pleaser, he deferred to me. If the kids ever pushed him when they were out, like, trying to get stuff out of him and that, he would just say, do you want me to tell mom? And they go, oh, never mind. Same with my dad. Well, let's check with mom. No, never mind. Is it bad to tell your toddler no if they start hitting you in public and be firm about it? What do words? Words mean nothing to toddlers. You take action. So if they hit, you say no, and then you just hold their hand and look away. And you just, yeah. But words are weak. The word no just starts the action, that's all. But the word no does nothing on its own. What do you do with a 3-year-old who tantrums and she leaves the park? Well, let her tantrum just where she is. Don't let her go back to the park, though. But wherever she is, just stand there filing your nails, waiting for it to finish. Always look like you're waiting for a bus. As soon as they stop tantruming, oh, okay, let's go now. Yeah, so you ignore the crazy, reward the calm. Reward as attention. Do not discuss a tantrum before, during, or after. There is no point whatsoever. A tantrum is just them not liking hearing the word no. It's them not getting their own way. You do not need to validate that. That is garbage. I know it's trendy right now. You got to discuss all their big feelings and big emotions. It's crap. I don't know who invented all that. You do not need to validate a fit scene or a tantrum. That is them not liking hearing the word no. That's what you ignore. You're ignoring their transitioning from being in charge to you being in charge. You ignore that. Anyway, yeah. One of my clients, I get child psychologists as clients too, really drilled me on that one. And I said, what's a good answer to that? You tell me why on earth you'd want to discuss a tantrum. We went back and forth and I won. So, yeah. Do you like timers to avoid tantrums? Why are you avoiding a tantrum? Why are you afraid of a tantrum? That's where all the lessons are. Why on earth would you avoid a tantrum? If they're going to have a tantrum, that's on them. Have at it. Go for it. I said, no. Why are you trying to avoid tantrums? Those are where all the lessons are. Every tantrum, fit, scene, meltdown, whatever, that is your opportunity to exercise your leadership by not letting it bother you. It's like that 8-year-old kid that I first met when I was working with him. And he said, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said, bring it on. And he never did. He was like, ooh, she knows what she's doing. You think I'm going to try and avoid a fit? Oh, they're in charge. Anytime, guaranteed. Anytime you're trying to avoid a tantrum, they're in charge. And they pick up on that eventually. They'll learn, oh, you're afraid of me. Ooh, I got power. Yeah, I want the tantrum. Bring it on. That's my opportunity. Everyone wants the rainbow, the no tantrums. The way to do that is to go through them. You got to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. There's no rainbow without a storm. Well, husband bribes 2-year-old to do tasks, and she now tries to bargain with us. Yeah, you've trained her, right? That's not a question. You've trained her to do that. Yeah. Good luck with that. My 8-year-old daughter's self-conscious, can't even say positive things about herself. We honestly try. I don't know what's going on there. But basically, when you're a leader, they don't tend to feel that way. Leaders tend to have kids with high self-esteem and confidence, because having a leader to guide you, to talk to about everything, like a mentor, it just builds them up. It strengthens them. So the children who are weak, low self-esteem tend to have pleaser parents. Not even so much the old-fashioned authority. The pleaser parents build very weak victims with mental health issues, and the entitled kids. That's what you're building if you're a pleaser, trying to avoid the tantrums, trying to give them whatever they want, try and make everything easy. You're building very weak individuals. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but set yourself up as a leader. I would do that first, see if that helps. If not, then you might want to hire me. See if she's going through something else. There's lots of different things that can be the cause of that. I don't know. But you want to be a leader anyway, right? So you may as well get that done first. Check out the boot camp course. It's up there. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler course is the boot camp course, and coaching is the top thing. So, and I can only take so many clients a day. So you have to email me. And the ones that take precedence are the ones who put crisis in the subject line. Do not put my 4-year-old tantrums every day as the crisis. That's not crisis. It's life and death, abuse, all that sort of stuff. That's crisis work that I do. But yeah, don't put that down if it's just tantrums. And then also past clients, they also take precedence. So crisis people first, then past clients. I'll always take those on. Okay. My 7 and 10-year-old disagree on everything and are very rude to each other and can't seem to get along. This is a general answer. I don't know if it's going to help you personally, but it's the one that comes up the most and helps the most whenever I'm coaching people. A good example of this is I had a client a while ago, 3 kids, and they're all about that age, and they were all fighting all the time. So I said, and then the parent said to me, well, I don't know why they fight. I give them each individual attention all the time, 30 minutes each every single night. And I'm saying, well, that's why they hate each other. I said, you're building resentment. So I said, what you do is you never do one-on-one time with kids who don't get along. You only do things as a group with them. And you play to the weakest link. You do silly games, like not anything competitive. You just do silly stuff. Look up silly games to play with kids. Could be like activities, make it something physical, like balloon tennis in the house or something silly like that. And you play to the weakest link so that that kid can be just as good as everybody else. And you're usually the worst at it because it's kid stuff, right? So they're more agile and all that. And then they bond by laughing at you. But you're showing them how to get along. You expect them just to get along. You have to show them how to do it. They don't all fight, but if they do, that's how you teach. You have to teach them how to get along. And you do that by being the fool in the games, and they're going to laugh at you. So, and that's good. That's how they'll bond, laughing at you. And just learning how to have fun together. Don't play anything like Monopoly. A lot of parents do stuff like that. And they'll say, well, we do play. We played like Risk or something, like competitive games. I'm like, talk about a war. Well, it is a war, right? So Risk. So I said, no, you don't play anything competitive. You play just fun, silly, goofy stuff. You don't play Monopoly. You go one round around the board and you already know who the winner is for the whole game. Whoever lands on Park Place and whatever the other one is, they're going to win. Is it the railroads too or something? What was funny is I lived in Australia for 20 years. Monopoly is all different there because obviously it's not North American. It's all like different. There's no Park Place or anything. Anyway, struck me as funny. Just little things. Like the movie Airplane. Remember that crazy movie you probably don't remember, like 40 years old. And it was called Airplane. It was just a stupid comedy. And they called it Flying High over there. It was the same movie. They actually changed movie titles for Australia too. It's kind of a test market down there. Okay. New baby coming in June. First child will be 2. Nervous about the transition. I've got no help for you. No, it is just going to be difficult. Do your best. That's all I got to say. Because how on earth can you prepare a little one for a new baby coming into the house? This will be the 2-year-old in the hospital. I love you. And then you get them home, they pick up the baby and throw them in the garbage. Like they're like, you mean that thing came home? It's going to scream all day and take my mommy and daddy away from me? It's just going to take time. Transitions take time. Kids don't do well with transitions. Us adults, I struggle with them sometimes too. I'm not great at it. So yeah. How old are your kids now? My kids are 34 and 29. And my granddaughter's 6 weeks old. So I wasn't that excited about being a grandmother, only because I love being a mom so much. I thought, how can it be anything? But yeah, she popped out, and I thought, yeah, I love her just as much as my own kids. It's not that I wasn't excited. I just thought, how can it be? It's not as much fun, though, because you have to hand them back. I have to hand her back to her parents. So I'd rather take her home. If I got a big enough purse, maybe I could. But anyway. Okay. Oh, but she's just so cuddly. Oh, I could just take her home. Anyway, enough about that. Okay, daycare teacher. I don't teach daycaring or teaching or child psychology or principling, but a lot of those people are my clients because a lot of stuff doesn't transfer over. And I don't know you've got restrictions in what you can say and do. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not my specialty. I'm home-based parenting, personal relationship. The rest of them are all institutional, business. It's business. I only teach parenting. Yeah, a huge portion of my clients, daycare, teachers, principals, child psychologists. I couldn't do what they do. And they struggle with parenting. They don't struggle more than anyone else, but they're learners. They want to get it right. That's why they're so high on my, like I've got so many of them as clients, because they really want to get it right. But yeah, especially a child psychologist would be most likely to hire me with teenagers. That's my specialty. And that's a hard thing to specialize in. If you haven't had a lot of experience with troubled teens, it's very hard. You know, I've never been hired by a youth worker. If you can get respect with troubled teenagers, you don't need my help. Like that's the PhD in all this really is, troubled teens. And that was my favorite age to work with, my favorite thing to work with. So yeah, but I've never been hired by a youth worker because they specialize in troubled teenagers. Why would they need me? And you know, it's not about being firm. It's actually more about being a really good listener and being non-judgmental than anything. And that's what people don't seem to realize is with like troubled youth, it's not about being firm. It is because you have boundaries, but it's more, your skill is more, you put your energy more into being a really good listener and non-judgmental at all. And that's across the board with your own teenagers or anything. Being a really good listener is your number one best skill with teenagers. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. Everyone else does that. They don't want to hear it. What do you do after tantrums and ignoring? Okay, so they're having a tantrum. They're on the floor. Here, I'm filing my nails. Don't go on a phone. Don't get into a discussion with someone. It's important that they know you're standing there waiting for them to stop. So you're aware of what they're doing, but you're ignoring them. But they need to know you're waiting for that to stop. Okay, you're there for them, but you're ignoring them. So you're like this. I'd be looking at the trees. I'm filing my. As soon as they stop, you got to be quick, and you go, "Oh, y'all done? Okay, let's go." You forget about it. They'll just get up and, oh, okay. Don't put your energy where you don't want to grow. Like you address bad behavior, but then you focus on the good kid. If you put all your energy into discussing tantrums, they're going to have more of them. Pretty much guaranteed. Don't put your energy and your focus into what you don't want. You just get it done. Ignore and then, okay, y'all done, let's go. There's a lot more to it, but it's alive, you know. Coaching, I go into a lot more detail about stuff and why you do it. And yeah. And with older kids, what do you do with tantrums with teenagers? There's a whole other thing. How do you become a good listener? You use your ears more than this. You do a lot of this and you say, oh, that would be frustrating. There's a lot of validating. You show empathy. You listen to understand and show empathy. And then you shut up. God, that's hard to do. I'm a talker, especially if you know what you think they should be doing, right? You just go, yeah, that would be frustrating. And then if they want your advice, they'll ask. And then even when they ask, I would say, well, I don't know. What I might do is this. What do you think? Like, I'm always trying to throw it back at them so they'll problem solve. You're trying to empower them. You don't want obedient soldiers. That's stupid. You want to empower them to be problem solvers and have confidence. But you're going to be there as their mentor. They're going to tell you everything. Plus, the better you get at this, they're not going to talk stupid to you. They're going to be really respectful, and they're just going to talk they're just going to change. You'll just see the shift. I remember I used to mentor troubled teens, and they're the ones who said, Lisa, you got to teach this stuff. No one's ever talked to us like you do. So everyone thinks they should be giving teenagers advice or any kids advice. I don't tend to do that. I try and bring out the best in them, but I don't try and tell them what to do, if that makes any sense. To me, leadership is about them liking themselves. That's my focus. When they like themselves when they're with you, they kind of want to please you. Does that make sense? When you make them feel good, think about it with anyone, any relationship in your life. If someone makes you feel good about yourself, would you be rude to that? Wouldn't you kind of be drawn to them? Think about it. It's not complicated. Like, it just makes perfect sense. If someone makes you feel like $1 million about yourself, don't you want to be with that person and please them? And you see, that's what it's all about. Make them feel great about themselves. So you deal with bad behavior like that, like a business transaction, no emotions at all. It's a business. Then after that, okay, you want to go to the park? I flip it like that. Okay, we all done? Want to go to the park? Because you focus on the good kid. Think about that. I should leave here. What a great way to leave. That's a good ending. Yeah. Anyway, does that make sense? Do you get that? Deal with bad behavior. Discipline's a very tiny part of what I do. When I was working with kids, I worked with hundreds of kids, troubled teens, toddlers, whatever. I had no leverage. I had no way of disciplining them. But I led with fun and humor, and then I would get quieter. If I didn't like what they were doing, I said, I didn't like that. I'll just take a minute here and just I'll just get quiet for a minute. That's all I had. And they were so embarrassed because they looked up to me, right? Because they felt good about themselves when they were with me. They didn't look up to me because they thought, wow, she's wonderful. They looked up to me because they thought, wow, she makes me feel wonderful. That's your superpower. It's not about how they feel about you. It's about how you make them feel about themselves. It's like any relationship in life. Think about it. Do you go out of your way to make yourself look good or to make other people feel good? God, that was good. I just came up with that. Anyway, okay, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. If you want to check out the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. I can only take so many people per day, so you have to email me. And if it's crisis, and I mean life and death stuff, serious stuff, put crisis in the subject line. If you're a past client, you'll be flagged anyway, and I'll see that. So you take priority. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and happy parenting. Bye now.